Hi guys, so in the previous lectures we have learned what the internet is, how we are going to learn the Flask framework and how to build applications using it, and we have also understood how to install the Python language kit and also the MySQL software. We have also made a sample run of our basic application using Flask. Alright, but we haven't discussed how the code runs and how this thing works. Alright, so now is the time to actually understand how this thing works. Alright, so let's make good understanding of it. Alright, so a basic thing here is this app.py file is which the entire Flask application is built. Alright, this is the place where we actually serve the request made by the client. Alright, whenever a client makes a request, it comes to the server. Alright, there has to be some operations made on the requests when a request arrives. Alright, all the operations are performed in this app.py file. Alright, so whenever the request is handled, operations are done, we return a response. Alright, so this is the place where we actually do all those things. Alright, so let's go line by line to actually understand how this app.py file works. Alright, so to begin, actually we need to import the Flask module from this Flask package. Alright, so whenever we actually import it, alright, we need to instantiate it. Alright, we have used the name app. You're free to use whatever you want because this is just the name for the instance that you're creating. Alright, so I have used the app, which is the conventional way of doing it. And also, while creating this instance, we need to give a parameter, which is _name _. Alright, so let's just comment this out for a while and let's look anything else that we have left over. Yeah, what else? This part. Alright, here we're actually telling it that this _name is _main . What actually happens here is, so this is telling the app that this is the main function. Alright, this is the main part of the application that we are running. Alright, in the previous lecture when we have actually ran the command python app.py, it actually runs from here. Why? Because it's the main part. So when you actually write this line app.run, this line will make sure that the Flask application is running. So this is how everything works. Alright, so right now let's go ahead and run our application. So I'm here. What I'm going to do is run the application. If you can observe, I'm still in my virtual environment. I'm going to write app.py. Wait for the server to start. Yeah, now the server is running. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm coming here and I'm going to say, wait, where can I access my application? Here it is running on http://127.0.0.1:5000. Alright, if you observe here, this 127.0.0.1 is actually the IP address that we have discussed earlier. Alright, when you actually run 127.0.0.1:5000, the 5000 is the port number. Alright, the IP address has several ports which we can use, and all the requests for a certain application are served using some port, while here we are using 5000. When you actually run it, alright, here it says not found. The requested URL was not found on the server. If you entered the URL manually, please check your spelling and try again. Why? Because when we have actually run this URL, or whatever we can call it as the address, so this is the root URL. So if you can observe here, it says get/http/1.1 and 404. Alright, the get is the HTTP verb and 404 is the status code. So the HTTP verbs and the status codes we are going to discuss it in the next coming classes. While one thing we need to make sure that we understand is this slash. This is the root of the server. Alright, while we did not mention anything how to handle this root, we got this not found error. Alright, if you come back, alright, let's see an example. If you actually go to google.com, you see the entire Google page is being served for us. Why? Because Google has established some certain paths to actually handle it. So whenever we actually access the google.com, it goes to the server and the server responds it according to the request that we have made, while we haven't actually established any way to handle this root. So if you come down here, this is the place where we have actually worked on. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to remove this comment. Why? Because we have actually made some root. So here we have a decorator. It says @app.route and there is a forward slash. As I have already said, the forward slash is the root, and here we are actually handling how to direct a certain request from the client. So every root must have a function to handle it. So if you comment this out, this is the function. We named it as index and we are returning hello world as a response to the client's request. So after saving this, come back here. So I'm gonna close the server and run it again. Yeah, now it is running. If I come back here and refresh it, now I can see the result because I have established a way on how to actually handle this particular URL. Alright, although we have refreshed it again and again, so anytime we actually make a change, we do not have to refresh it because that's a tiresome process. We are in a developmental process. We do not have to refresh it again and again. So what are we going to do here is debug equals to true. When you actually give this parameter and set it to true value, now let's close the server and run it again. Now if you can see, debug mode on, restarting with stat, debugger is active. Because debugger is active, we do not have to refresh the server whenever we make a change in the application. Alright, now let's just come here. If you refresh it, we can actually see the result. Yeah, our result is hello world. So it's working fine. Now come down here and I'm going to change this as hello geek. And I'm going to save this. I'm coming here, I'm refreshing it. You can see I do not have to stop the server and restart it again. Instead of doing all that, I just hit the refresh. Alright, this is a complete explanation of how actually the Flask application has run. In our previous lecture we have performed it, but we did not go through it. So a last and final thing that we can actually discuss here is the port number 5000. So if you actually go to 5001 port number, we are going to get this kind of error. Why? Because we are not handling any request through this port, but we can actually set it because we have the freedom to choose the port that we are actually working on. So I'm coming here, port equal to 5001, save this, but this time we have to restart the server. Why? Because instead of changing any part of the application, we are changing the entire settings of it. So now run the application. Yeah, now if you come here and refresh it, now you can see the answer. What? The response from the server. But the port is 5001. Now if you go back to the port 5000, it actually says it can't reach the page because we have changed it by ourselves. Alright, so in this way we can actually handle whatever port that we want to work on. Alright, for my purpose I'm not actually going to change any port. This is just for demonstration purpose, and I'm going to set it to 5000. Alright, so let's run the server again. Let's see how we are actually getting the request. Yeah, so everything works fine. This is the complete understanding of how the web application using Flask works, and from this point on we are going to learn how actually going to use templates inside Flask application. Let's get ahead.